This podcast is powered by the pros at Paschal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPaschal.com.
Eric, appreciate you joining us. Start with Taylen Green. You've got a chance to watch him on film at Boise State. What stands out about Arkansas starting quarterback this fall?
Yeah, a lot. I think he's physically and athletically extremely intriguing, and a guy I think a lot of NFL evaluators, as well as I'm sure college teams, want to get their hands on, just because there's so much raw potential and so much raw upside there. And you certainly look at the raw stats from Boise State a year ago, and you see 11 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. What are we getting here? But really, that Boise State offense, I'm not sure really got a chance to really uncork what he can really be as a quarterback and as a dual threat player. I think his upside and the flashes he showed, not just as in terms of athletic ability, arm talent, all that stuff, but winning from the pocket, play progressing, making decisions off script, it's all there to really make huge, huge strides. I think for an Arkansas offense, there's some similarities between he and KJ Jefferson. I think KJ Jefferson certainly has more starting experience, a bit more refinement. But Taylen Green, I think, has more upside, but similar style to what KJ Jefferson off the last couple of years.
What can Bobby Petrino do for Taylen Green, Eric?
I think for what Bobby Petrino has done a fantastic job of his whole career as an offensive coordinator and play caller is he gives his really talented quarterbacks at times a lot of really easy decisions and a lot of schemed open plays to allow his quarterbacks to make easy throws, to keep the ball moving, and allow his quarterbacks to make plays when they have to or when the opportunity sets up. I think for Taylen Green, he'll have schemed open and scheme a lot of 80% of his throws will be really easy decisions for that offense. And that gives Taylen Green the comfort to know that, hey, I'm not going to be put in a bad situation to have to force a play or to be overly creative in a play. But also when the time comes, when it's third and medium or it's 1st and 10 on a long drive, Taylen Green knows, hey, this is where I get a chance to be my Lamar Jackson in a Bobby Petrino offense and really make a downfield throw or work off script or get out to the pocket and make a defender miss with my legs or break tackles to the second level. So I think for Bobby Petrino, he's going to make Taylen Green's life as easy as possible. When those opportunities come, Taylen Green is ready. He's not stressed, and he can really take advantage of those opportunities the defense may give him.
Eric Galco's our guest. McCarty Daniel Hotline. He's the director of football ops and player personnel for the East-West Shrine Bell. Also does stuff for Optimum Scouting. Eric, I think one of the other benefits Taylen has is while he didn't play with these guys last year, Andrew Armstrong, Isaac Tesla, you got Luke Hasz coming back from injury, Isaiah Satania. They return, I think, 93% of their pass-catching production. Yeah. How do you think he's going to be able to utilize guys that haven't necessarily been at the system but have all been on the same roster as of last year?
Yeah, Armstrong and Tesla especially are two guys that I'm excited about to see again just because they were transfers a year ago, and I think we kind of underestimate sometimes those small school to FBS transfers maybe takes a year to kind of get settled. So if the receiver room is deep, I'm excited to see who kind of steps up there. But you're right in that he's going to have a lot of weapons to throw to. And I think he'll get a chance to kind of figure out who he works best with in this offseason. Coach Petrino and that offense will figure out, hey, who are the best core to put around him consistently, too. But then you add in the fact that they've got a good running game still, and Jaquindon Jackson coming in from Utah is extremely talented and has out-of-the-backfield potential. They've added 3 reinforcements on the offensive line, including Carmona at left tackle, who has a chance to be an NFL player as well, too. So they've really kind of fortified a lot of key depth at running back, receiver, offensive line. Certainly, Luke Hasz coming back is super helpful at tight end as well, too. A lot of pieces. We'll see who kind of rises to the top and is their number 1, number 2, number 3 option. But I think Taylen Green will not have a shortage of opportunities to kind of make plays downfield and keep driving in with this kind of depth of offense and the offensive line talent.
Eric, you bring up Jaquindon Jackson. I really liked what I saw on film from him at Utah and what I've heard out of him from spring. What kind of dynamic do you think he'll provide to that running back room along with a guy like Rashad Dubinion and then also the young Braylon Russell amongst some other guys?
Yeah, Jaquindon's an incredible athlete. He's dealt with some injuries at Utah, and they had a deep running back room when he first got there. But this is a guy coming out of Texas that was a incredible quarterback, dual threat athlete prospect, and it's a high football IQ, a guy who's played a lot of football in high school and just didn't get his chance to really explode at Utah like the program thought he would, and I'm sure like he thought he would because of injury and the depth they had there. But he is immensely talented. This could be a guy that we could say, hey, this guy had 1,200 yards by the end of the season, all-purpose as a running back and receiver. Big, athletic, can move in space, can make guys miss, can develop even further as a pass catcher. He can stay in on third down and block as well, too. He's kind of I think he can really be the face of that running back unit, but also allow that depth to really thrive because he's a guy that I think, when healthy, he can handle 15, 20 touches a game.
We're talking with Eric Galko again, kind enough to join us on the McCarty Daniel hotline. Eric, Arkansas is going to have to play this Alan Bowman kid for Oklahoma State. That's, I think, is in his 7th year of college football. It's annoying because not only that offense has got Ollie Gordon, all the pass catchers, all the offensive linemen, but you got a guy that's been around the block forever. We've talked about this being a problem in college basketball, to an extent college baseball, but what do you think about like trying to cycle out some guys out of the COVID years and out of eligibility? Is this a big problem for college football as well?
I think we're almost through the COVID headaches that certainly college has gone through. As an NFL evaluator, we've gone through being like, wait, who's eligible? He can go back to school. I don't know. So I think we're almost through that. Hey, for Alan Bowman, a chance to come playing college football when, hey, maybe the NFL is not going to be there for him. Kudos to him. And the Oklahoma State program, I know, is happy to have him as well, too. But I think we're almost through that. And I think it's, in some ways, it's benefited a lot of true freshmen that may have played in bad situations. And one of the aspects of transferring is we see guys struggle. And it's okay when we see guys transfer when they're backups and not playing and a new coach. When we see a guy struggle and then he has to transfer, it's kind of selling low on himself. And it's never really great to see those kind of guys. So I think more and more seniors, especially at quarterback, staying in college, allow those younger quarterbacks chance to develop a little bit and kind of see what's going on for sure. Oklahoma State has a good young quarterback, a couple good young quarterbacks behind Alan Bowman as well, too. So I think the whole of college football is probably improved by having more seniors stay and allow those young guys to develop. But I think for a lot of people, we're thankful that the COVID year is almost behind us and won't be any more 7th, 8th year seniors, at least for a little while.
Eric, you mentioned NFL evaluations. I wonder if you could give us some thoughts on Landon Jackson's Arkansas's probably best defensive player, maybe their best overall player, a kid that had like 3.5 sacks. I mean, he wrecked Alabama's game plan in Tuscaloosa last season. How big of a prospect does Arkansas have from Texarkana at the next level?
Yeah, I think I feel pretty confident in saying most people believe he's their best prospect for next year. The guy, I think Taylor Green's upside is really intriguing. But Landon Jackson's a guy that NFL evaluators know. I know he a little bit considered coming out a year ago, just kind of did his homework, but really wanted to stay in school and kind of improve his value. And, hey, I think if he was in last year's draft, 3rd, 4th round was probably where he was going to go, maybe a little earlier if he tested well. You had another year of refinement, a productive year, and now not only NFL scouts, but now NFL GMs and coaches know his name coming into the year. That kind of expectation, if you can rise to that level, that's where kind of first-round prospects are made. So not saying Landon Jackson's a first-round pick quite yet, but he's got that talent. He has the awareness of the NFL scouting community, again, at the highest level as well, too, that, hey, if he can put together a 7, 8, 9 sack season this year with how much attention he's going to be getting and what their scheme really asks, that's going to put him in rare company across the country this year.
Eric,
no doubt he'll be one of the best defensive lineman prospects for sure.
Eric, I wonder your view on the Southeastern Conference with Texas and Oklahoma joining as of next Monday. Those additions, I think Texas is going to compete right away, unfortunately, for a lot of Arkansas fans listening. I'm not as high on Oklahoma. What kind of impact do you see them having on the conference? I still think it's Georgia's for the next 5 years, depending on what happens with Kirby. What are your views on Sark and Venables instantly joining the league as of a week from now?
I think Sark and Venables are really different. I think a Sark-led team is somewhat – I mean, Sark's done a fantastic job of building the top-end talent there. I think the last 2 years especially, he's built the depth that a Georgia and Alabama have, right? People underappreciate sometimes that as good as Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State are at the top end of the talent, the first-round pick, it's the depth that they have that allows those guys to stay fresh, allows those games maybe are blowouts to have guys come in, allows the practices to be successful. And I think Sark has gotten that to Texas the last 2 years. But now they have the depth. We'll see if that depth can really match an SEC schedule when there's maybe 2 games that are a little bit easier versus 4 or 5 in the Big 12. And that'll be a big deal for the Texas program. I think Oklahoma, to your point, I'm not sure they're ready to compete right now. But again, Brett Venables done a great job of building a lot of depth and keeping an offensive line of strength, keeping the defensive line of strength. Jackson Arnold there at quarterback, he's certainly intriguing for them as well, too. So I think Oklahoma is a little more of they're going to build within the SEC versus Texas has high expectations coming in now. But I don't expect Oklahoma or Texas to be below the mid-tier, if not in the upper tier of the SEC moving forward. They're both going to be strong programs. And, again, they've really built enough depth in recruiting the last couple of years and the portal to not be someone who's just going to be bank on a couple stars, but have enough depth to compete.
Eric, we'll let you go with this, man. And again, Eric Galko, our guest on the McCarty Daniel Hotline. He's head of football operations with the East West Shrine Bowl, which incorporates a lot of senior players that, like Tom Brady, for example, that have played in that game. For Arkansas fans listening, they're looking at two giants entering the league, two bordering states, right, that have higher in-state talent, that have more of a national brand than they do currently. And they're just wondering how they compete in this league that has even been not revamped, but just it's tougher now than it's ever been. What is the pathway for Sam Pittman, not just on the recruiting trail, but to navigate the already tough SEC to compete in this conference?
I think it's a great question because I think with NIL being almost a level playing field and not just money, Arkansas has opportunities to have a lot of money for NIL and really compete, maybe not dollar for dollar on every player Georgia, Bama, Ohio State may recruit, but they can get pretty close when the program's in a good spot. But I think it's about recruiting strategy in the portal and keeping guys there. I think Arkansas has done a great job of kind of the guys they want to keep, putting together realistic proposals, keeping the players involved. I think the culture of Arkansas right now, from a player standpoint, is really strong. And that's what you have to a lot of players now coming out of high school are viewing college as not only 3 years and go to the NFL, but 3 years of good money and development because they know that they can get paid a lot of different places. Where can I get the most money when I go to the NFL when I leave as well, too? And I think Arkansas and Coach Pittman have really developed that we can produce and help you get to your NFL career pretty consistently. And I think doing that at a consistent level is how you go from a mid-tier kind of struggling to float to being a really consistent powerhouse. And Arkansas has those resources. I think if they can get to that level of being a consistent 8, 9, 10-win team and really produce NFL talent, compete with the big guys, win a big game or two every year, you'll start to get more consistent depth and talent in there for sure. Again, 30 years ago, Oklahoma was struggling a little bit, and they kind of brought it back based off tradition, but also building that depth. And I think now with NIL and the program Arkansas has, it's even easier to build depth if you have a really good process internally, and I think Arkansas does.
Eric, we'll leave it there. Again, Eric Galko, Director of Football Ops and Player Personnel for the East West Shrine Bowl, also does a lot of stuff for Optimum Scouting. Appreciate you joining us this morning on the McCarty Daniel Hotline, and excited to see how Taylon Green is for Arkansas in 2024.
Yes, sir. Thanks, buddy.
All right, good stuff from Eric.
BetOnline is your #1 source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE. That's BLEAV for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.